So I just finished presenting to a crowd at the Innovation Theater here at Seatrade Cruise Global. Really, the highlights were economic impact, $200 billion of total economic impact on the economies of the world from cruise activity, supporting 1.8 million jobs. Really, for every 19 cruisers that take a cruise somewhere in the world, one full-time job is supported. And among those jobs, $60 billion in wages. So I think an argument that we hear is that cruise lines show up, it's a giant vessel, it brings problems, but what is often lost in all that noise is the benefit of that economic impact. You're supporting communities that potentially otherwise wouldn't have that same level of economic activity. I think about communities in Alaska. Some of the only ways to get there are by like a little puddle jumper or on a cruise ship. Some of those communities without cruise activity, they'd have a little bit of a harder time in the economy, and it supports a ton of jobs in those coastal communities. Some numbers we also talked about were just passenger movements for 40 years in a row, every year, incremental growth, well managed to the extent that in 1985, about 2 million people took a cruise somewhere in the world. Whereas this past year, 2025, 41 years later, it was 37.2 million. But it took 40 years to get there. So it's kind of a counter argument to the fact that the cruise industry is so large. Bud said it on stage during his keynote. Out of total international visitation, cruise is only about 2 or 3% on a global scale. So, these are useful rebuttals to our critics that think that maybe we're growing out of control or that we are contributing to over tourism, when that isn't really necessarily true in every case. That was too much. Okay.